Hi there.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. I am Chidi Akunna, and with me is my dear husband,
Victor Akunna.
So thank you for joining us, and thank you to every returning subscriber. Okay, you keep engaging with our content, sharing it with your contact. We are grateful. We appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Okay, and we appreciate your feedback. Thank you. As much as possible, we will keep making the tweaks here and there. Thank you. And if you're watching this, you might be on our YouTube channel. If this is your first time, please feel free to subscribe and turn on your notification bell, so you're notified when our content drops.
Absolutely.
All right. I had a returning subscriber say to me the other day, "How come I missed that content?" Yes, because you didn't turn on your notification bell. So please do. All right. So today, our mission is simple: to connect hearts and raise healthy families.
Absolutely.
And what we'll be talking about today borders on connecting hearts. 7 costly mistakes singles make.
Absolutely.
You forgot the other one. How to avoid them.
Yeah, and how to avoid them. Thank you.
All right. So 7 costly mistakes singles make and how to avoid them.
Yeah.
Right. When we were talking about the topic, my dear husband said to me, "Don't forget, it's costly.
Yes.
They're not just mistakes, they're costly mistakes. So they're really expensive, and you can't put your life at risk like that." Okay. And the first one we'll be talking about today is being too hasty to start a relationship. I was speaking with a client, and I mean, she's gone as far as signing her contract for the purchase of a property. And she asked me a question. "Oh, I noticed some faults in the property. What do you think? Do you think I should go ahead or not?" And I said to her, I flashed the big phrase, "Let the buyer beware."
Caveat emptor.
So, okay, caveat emptor. Thank you. All right. So how do you get into a relationship without investigation? Like we like to say, investigate before you affectionate. Okay. So going back to our first point. Okay, being too hasty to start a relationship. All right. You get to that point where you don't even do your background checks about this person. You know, I was talking about property. You have to do your background. You have to do proper checks. Okay. You don't do background checks about this person and head on. You're like, "Oh, okay, let's just start." Okay. We connect. Okay. We meet ourselves at a certain level. Well, in a certain frequency. Okay. And you just think it's cool, but you need to do your background checks. There are things you must check.
Absolutely.
Come on, shoot.
Yeah. Sometimes people will say, "Well, in this time where, how do I check? How do I know for sure?" There are different ways for you to know. You know, there is something that is called, what you just said, background check. So before you go into a relationship, in the sense of we're talking about life partnership, you know, this is somebody that you want to build a life partnership with. You need to know how does he react? How does he or she react?
I like that.
When he or she is angry. How have you ever seen the person? All right. How does the person handle money? Is the person driven? Is the person ambitious? These are things you need to find out. Sometimes you find this out while you are dating the person. Sometimes you find this out while you are doing your own independent search. So, for example, on Facebook, you always find mutual friends. So if you're lucky enough to have a lot of mutual friends, you can do 1 or 2 checks with the person, read their posts, know how they respond to people. You know, it's very important for you to do this kind of check before you accept anybody's proposal. I'm talking to the ladies now, because if someone is proposing, to propose something means they are bringing an offer on the table. What's this offer made of? Yes. All right, before you say yes, what are you saying yes to? You need to be able to know that. All right, so you don't get into, because usually what happens is that once you like someone, your emotion kicks in. Your emotion kicks in, whereby it begins to, blind your capacity to see some faults. All right, so but your ability to do a background check is very important. And now, what happens in a situation where you feel that I know everything is going well, nothing is going to happen? Maybe you need to get those that you know have your back to go do background checks. Not that they are trying to dig up all kind of skeletons, because nobody is perfect.
That's true.
But at least know what you are going into. It's called informed decision. Make an informed decision. Okay, I know that he has a bad credit history, but these are the steps he has taken to be able to mitigate it. I know she has issues with, she's a spendthrift, she just goes and just buys, but these are the things that she's doing. So once you know that, you can now know, okay, is this something I can manage? Is this something that is saying, amber, hold on? Is it green? Go. Is it red? run for your life kind of situation. Why? Because anytime so I think I read somewhere it says that anytime you make a decision to marry someone, that person significantly impacts your life, because you're not just marrying the person, you're marrying their whole history, you're marrying their habit, you're marrying their family. There are many things that you are marrying, so you have to consider that. It doesn't mean again that everything needs to be perfect, but know what you're getting into. Like something we call negotiable and non-negotiable. So by the time you know that, okay, this person ticks some of my key boxes, and I'm fine with this. The rest, we can work on it, we can improve. So don't be too quick to say yes. Be too quick to start a relationship without really understanding what you are getting into. All right, so very important, very crucial.
Thank you for that. Okay, so the second point is poorly defining the relationship. You scratched it when you said don't be too quick to start a relationship.
Yes.
Okay, don't be too quick to start a relationship. But there are times you start the relationship and it's not properly defined. Okay, I meet this guy, okay? We're colleagues, we go out for a drink from time to time, and we have this kind of conversation that tickles my brain, and I love it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I'm like, oh, come on, there's something there. And because I enjoy the conversation.
Yes.
I keep wanting to hang out with this person, and we carry on hanging out. Okay, and unconsciously, what I do not realize is that everyone begins to think we're an item. Okay, and probably we're the only two who know there's nothing between us.
Absolutely.
But everyone who looks at us then makes out that okay, they're into something.
Absolutely.
And sometimes one of us might even be thinking something, and the other is has nothing in mind.
Yeah.
Okay. How bad is that?
Yes.
And that's one factor for heartbreak. Yes.
Sorry, I was going to say the last point you made is where the issue is. When one person is thinking there is something, and the other person has no clue, or is not interested, or is not even ready for a relationship, that's where the issue is. So because in way, what do you call it? Anytime now, how do you know that this is your case? Anytime you have a friend of the opposite gender that you are becoming very close, and people are asking, wow, what are you guys doing? And you're like, oh, nothing.
Yeah,
nothing.
Defending yourself.
You are constantly defending. It's high time you thought through what you are going to do. All right? You begin to ask yourself, okay, what am I feeling? What do I want? How far do I want this relationship to go? Okay, it's a platonic relationship. Is that what the other person is thinking? You need to now clarify. So, for example, if you want a relationship, you need to be able to, as a lady, you need to, begin to position yourself and say, you know what exactly, if he says no, is it going to affect the relationship? How are you going to go forward? Why? Because sometimes when people are built, like you said, you have common interests. Maybe both of you like jazz, for example.
Yeah.
And then you notice that you're communicating. This guy is also ambitious. She's driven, and that relationship begins to grow. Get to that point where before you make a decision, you want to see what she will say. Yeah. You are dressing up because she will see you and say, "Wow, I like this red tie." You are beginning to arrange your life to please the person. Yeah. But you guys don't have a relationship. All right, so it is, and people are now beginning to ask you, hey, when is he coming? I don't know when he's coming. He didn't tell me. So people are beginning to expect that you have more information than any other person.
Yes.
If you've not had a clearly defined relationship, that's about the time for you to do that, right? Because the thing about life is that life abhors vacuum. Once you are hooked, in quotes, maybe emotionally or in the mind of people, whoever is interested in you begin to, unless the person likes this kind of let me see if I can chance this other guy. Most guys don't have that kind of time. They just want to say, okay, if she's already happy with this relationship, I'm going to respect that. Some guys think that way. So in a situation whereby there's nothing but the chemistry around the both of you, the oral around both of you, the energy around both of you is looking like you guys are an item, to borrow your word. It's about time you define that relationship. Why? Because it's not just about you guys, it's about other people. From that other people is where whoever is going to be asking you out to come out from as a lady. Now, it's social by the other side is for you to protect your heart. So you don't want to show about you are beginning to feel one thing, and the other person is not even ready for a relationship. In fact, if you even suggest a relationship, the other person may even feel offended, as if you want to, you are trying to take advantage of the lovely thing that, sometimes people just put you in a friendship zone perpetually. They don't even see you crossing the line at all. So you need to be able to protect your heart in case the thing doesn't go well. You won't feel hurt. It won't damage what you people share. And then, sometimes you need to build a strong Chinese wall between what you guys are doing, but define it. So it's not when you are beginning to expect something, or the other person is expecting something, or people are thinking you guys are together, but then you are losing out on opportunities around you, because hey, if you've passed a certain age as a lady, there are things that you don't want time wasters around you. Time wasters, I mean, they are not bad guys. They are guys who are not interested in what you are interested in. You are interested in hooking up. If you're not interested in hooking up, fine. Just enjoy your life. But if you want to hook up, there are adjustments you have to make. Those decision of just enjoying and just flowing and hooking up, sometimes they are mutually incompatible. So if I want to be a footballer, there are things I must do. There are exercise, there are regimen. I can't say I want to be the best footballer and I can just eat anything I like, sleep anytime I like. They're mutually not compatible. So I have to choose one thing, choose a lifestyle of discipline every time. So, or I go do something else and do another kind of profession. So basically, that's what I was trying to say. So define it, and then early.
Okay. All right. So the third point is giving up too quickly.
Very important.
You were speaking earlier, and you said sometimes the person yes, we're all not perfect, right? Yes. So we all have faults. Yes. Okay, and when you're attracted to someone, of course, at the start you won't see any faults. Yeah, and then as you get to know yourselves better, you start seeing some faults. Yes. What happens sometimes is some people are too shocked, and they are like, "What? You mean she's like that?" And then they bail.
Fantastic.
Right? And then some ladies are like, "Oh no, I can't deal with that." You're too shocked to manage that side, what you've just seen.
Fantastic.
Okay? But that's you giving up too quickly. I had this lady one day and she said, "Oh, the way he spoke to me," I think they had been on for a couple of months. And then one day he lashed out about something. And she said, "The way he spoke to me, oh no, that's it." And she won't take his calls. Now the man on the other end did not even know what he had done wrong. But to her, that was like, "What? You raise your voice at me?" Okay? And then by the time she checked, she finally got around to speaking with him. And then they discussed it. She realized on that day, his mom had been rushed to hospital. Yeah? So giving up too quickly, what we're trying to say is there are flaws you would see in your spouse to be, in that person you're getting into a relationship, right? That you may not be comfortable with. Yes. Now, when we say this, we have to speak with caution because there are certain things you see that, yes, we would advise that you pause and then review things. Okay? But there are some things you look at and it might just be that you're in that person's life for that purpose to help the person walk through that.
Fantastic. Wow, that's fantastic. So you might just be in the life of the person to address that issue. Very valid point. Why? Because every time you see anybody that you're going to get married, that person is not in their best version yet. They are evolving, they are work in progress. If you saw me 10 years ago, I'm a completely different person but the person I'm interacting with keeps calling me to a higher standard and I keep getting better. Same here. Thank you. But one key thing is this, like what she pointed out, there are things that are unacceptable. We need to differentiate that. So it's not like, Chidi and Victor said, I should be more tolerant, and then someone is abusive, verbally abusive. No. So there are non-negotiable, all right? Non-negotiable stuff that you see, like verbally abusive, the person is,
he hits you.
He hits you. There are things that is a no. That's, the person needs help. Because you are not a professional to fix that kind of a situation. So that's different. But what we're trying to say is that if you want a relationship, you want someone in your space, there are adjustments that you have to make. There are things you have to overlook. Like they say, love covers a multitude of sin. What that means is that if you are going to accommodate someone into your space, you must be more forgiving, you must be more tolerant. Especially if you've been a guy that have been a single guy for a long time, you're not used to someone asking or challenging your decision. Now you have an intelligent lady, bossy lady, by bossy, I don't mean it in negative connotation. A lady that is ambitious, that knows what she wants, that knows the kind of man she wants, and she goes for it. There are certain things that she'll call your attention to. She'll tell you, no, I didn't like how you did that. And you are not used to someone telling you, calling you to asking you, where are you at? How come you said you will return the call? You didn't return the call. So it's not the time to say, you know what, I'm not dealing with this kind of controlling lady. No, you should reflect on what she's saying at this genuine consent and call yourself to a higher standard. So it's not the time for you to just throw in the towel, and just say, you know what, I'm bailing. Hey, like there is this stuff they do on Facebook, bail or bail or something, So where the time there is danger, it's not the time to just, hey, sometimes this is to pull your attention. I will tell you something from my own personal experience. From the time we said, I asked her and she said yes, to the time we got married, 3 years gap. Between those years, there are many negotiations. We shifted wedding location for more than how many times? About 5 times or so. I'm not exaggerating now. There are many things. You have to see this uncle. You have to see all those challenges. They are the things that will build your strength for marriage. Marriage, like you say, is not a bed of roses. I don't like to use that word, but what they're trying to say is that marriage is real life. There are things that you guys will go through. So someone is not returning your call is what is putting you off. Be ready for real putting off. Why? Because there are in-laws that will just come into your space that you might not be able to manage. You have to just come up with a new way to resolve issues. Yours may not be an in-law issue. Yours may be you didn't have children on time.
Or her friends.
Our friends. We didn't have children. Our first kid came almost 8 years into marriage. So those days, there were those years that we were waiting. There were many challenges. There were many things that were in situation we found ourselves was embarrassing. You go for a program and people are asking you, "Where are your kids?" You are like thinking, "What am I going to say?" And this, what I'm trying to say is that whatever challenge you're facing, some of them are there to make you tougher, to make you better for where you're going. And that's what I'm trying to say.
That's right. Thank you. You did justice to that point. Okay. So the next one is being too passive about finding love. Okay, sometimes you see people, they don't even realize that, okay, girl, you need to be doing something. We're not saying throw yourself at men. No. Okay, but you need to do something. There's a way to position yourself. Okay, some people just sit back and say, oh, when it's time, Mr. Right will find me. Okay, when it's time. But he's got to find you somewhere. Absolutely. So there are some things you need to be doing. There are places you need to put yourself in. Okay, look in your inner circle. Look in your circle. Okay, the people there, do they look like it? If they don't, then we'll be asking, okay, what are you doing about getting more people in that look like it into your circle? Good. Right? Don't be just passive and think that love will find me when it's time. No, it doesn't just work like that.
One of the things that surprises me is that people who have this principle, they have a different principle in other areas of their lives. For example, you want to get a good job. You are not just crossing your leg in your house before your computer and say, the right job will find me. No. But when it comes to life partner, we manufacture rules and principles that are most of the case, in most of the time, they are completely irrational and baseless. But because there are things attached with relationship, emotions, people don't really think through. How can you just say, oh, well, I know it sounds like, interesting, but it doesn't really make sense. That's not how you get results in any area of your life. So why will you say in the area of relationship that fundamentally impacts your future, you say the person will just find you? No, there are things you must, I'm speaking to guys as well. Some guys just think that, being a guy is enough, you're just cool, you're not working on your personal hygiene, you don't return calls, you don't like people barraging into your space, you like your own thing, you're not looking at yourself in the appearance, and you're not ambitious, you just feel like being a guy is enough, after all, we have more women that, all kind of belief system that are just spooky, Let me tell you something. Any lady that's worth her while is looking for a quality person, right? Because she spent time to develop herself. So she's not looking for a loser. So I use that in the most sensitive sense of the word. She's not looking for someone who will just come and be like a liability, that the only thing is that she just take on your last name. No. She's looking for somebody that will also challenge her to a higher standard. the women we have today are not the women we had of those days where they're just happy to just give birth to children. They want more. They want a man that will show them vision, not necessarily earn hundreds of billions of naira more than them, but they want someone that will show them something much better. They want someone that calls them to high standard. They want someone that will model excellence. They want someone that will lead them more to God. They want something more. All right, so you must be that kind of a man where, you've worked on yourself and you're attractive enough. And for a lady, don't just say you put your life on hold. You won't pursue your goals because you don't want to look too flashy or something. You don't want to go and get that qualification because you are waiting when you are putting your life on hold until when you get married. You'll be so shocked, right? Because the thing about life is that where did we even meet? We met in a place where we had a common interest.
That's right.
I was pursuing something, and that's where we met. So most people find themselves in the places of common interest. All right. So don't lock yourself and just do this triangular of work, home, religious organization, work. No. Step out of your comfort zone, get to meet people, interact with people, and this has nothing to do with being introvert or extrovert. I'm telling you. So reach out there, connect with people, reach out to people, and then expand the number of people who fit your profile, the kind of man or the kind of lady you're looking for. All right. So some people will say, well, I don't really have a lot of lovely guys around me. Yeah, expand that. By expanding that, interact and meet more guys like that or more ladies like that, so you increase the probability of finding the right person. That's what I'm trying to say. There is a science to this and there is an art to this.
Yeah, very good. My mom, I remember, she used to be very concerned, and she would say, she would ask me, do you want to end up as a nun or something? We'll talk about that in another video. So I remember one particular day, she said to me, she would come in and just quote one of those things. And on this day, she said, "He that must have friends must show himself friendly." So there you go. I just thought I'd throw that in. All right. So the next point is no boundaries. I'll let you deal with that.
No boundaries. Sometimes people want to start a relationship, and because they've been in a failed one, so this one they are holding it. It's like, I don't want to offend him. I don't want to offend her. Let's just marry. Let's just get there. Let's just get married. No. And then the person is doing things that you know that you can't tolerate. And because you don't want to lose the person, you are losing yourself in the relationship. Personally speaking, I don't think that's acceptable. Why? Because I don't even think you can build a solid relationship as regarding a life partner without being honest with the person. All right. So one of the ways to being honest is to tell the person this is not acceptable by any standard. All right. Now, how you deliver this is very important. So it's very important that if you see, like someone told me some time ago, he said, if you know you won't like something, don't tolerate it. Because after a while, people get used to you accepting that. And when you now challenge it, they feel that you're being rude. They feel that you are feeling too much of yourself. If you know something is not acceptable by you, find a way to hint it. Hint it in a way. Some people like you telling them directly. Some people like you suggesting it because they feel hurt. Some people are more sensitive. Some people like you, there are different ways, writing them in notes. Whatever it is, make sure you clarify it. So, for example, as a single lady, a guy just popping into your house and want to sleep over. That's unacceptable by you. Draw the line. Say, no, this is not acceptable. You can't just let me know when you're coming over. Something like that. Or some people just say, let's cohabit. No, this is not acceptable by me. Draw it and don't say, no, I don't want to lose him. If I don't do it now, he will go elsewhere. Is that what you want to start? Do you think that's going to stop in marriage?
And what if he leaves you and goes elsewhere months after?
That's what happens most times. That's what happens.
Costly mistake.
Dr. Mike Munoz could say something. Never complain about something you tolerate. Never complain about something you tolerate. The first time I heard that quote, it hit me like a ton of brick. So anytime I'm complaining, I don't like this, are you tolerating it? Another quote will say, I think it was by Maya Angelou, that says, if you don't like something, change it. If you cannot change it, change your attitude about it. So, that's mainly for married people. Well, mainly in a situation where you know that this is not a boundary, like someone insulting your sibling, for example, or insulting your mom. It's not acceptable by you. Draw the line. Please, next time, I don't want you to say this again. And if he's laughing, So this is not a laughing matter. You draw the line, you send that signal right there and then. Don't laugh about it and expect him to change or expect her to change. No, draw the line. Please, I know you have been trying to be, but this is not acceptable by me and I don't want you to repeat it again. Let it sink in. If it doesn't sink in, people naturally keep pushing boundaries. They want to see how far they will go. So don't give away your power in the process of you trying to get a relationship. It's not acceptable. Let them know it's not acceptable. If they are going to walk away, let them walk away based on principle, not based on you trying to lose your own personal identity because you're trying to accommodate things that will make you feel less and make you lose your dignity in the process. It's not acceptable because at long run, that relationship is going to hit the rocks.
Still talking about boundaries. I was just thinking as you were speaking, because sometimes this is not linked to what you said, but you see people who come into a relationship, and like we said in the second point, okay, it's not been properly defined, and then they start mixing their finances, and then we've seen young singles who want to probably make investments, like huge investments, buying a property, okay, and then it becomes a problem when it's like, okay, we can't go on, right? It becomes very messy, and you see some people, because they have made these such investments, they decide to stay in the relationship. Oh, I can't patch with it. Oh, we've come too far. You've come too far at the expense of your life. Okay, no boundaries. Very important.
Some people will have children together. And then and then you're like, oh, sorry, I can't marry you, and now they have to be co-parents, and then you have to agree when you meet the child. No, let's not get these things.
Okay, so the next one is holding on to a relationship you know is going nowhere. You're very certain. Okay, I can't end up with this kind of person, right? We've told you about not giving up too soon, okay? But when it's very clear to you that I don't have a future with this person, I can't see myself in his future, because oftentimes we see people who marry for their present. They don't think about their future, okay? But it's a life journey, like we like to say. So you need to be thinking 10 years down the line, 20 years, 30 years, okay, what's this person like? How flexible is this person to growth? Yeah, so because you don't want to get into a relationship and get stuck. You'll be doing yourself a lot of damage, okay? Because it stifles you, whether you like it or not. It will put a cap on you, all right? So if you know this relationship is going nowhere, it's about time.
Marriage is not just for an end. It's not an end in itself. It's a means to an end. What that means is that when people enter your life, there is for a purpose. And especially for marriage, all right? So when people come into when my wife comes to my house, it's called helpmate, someone that will help you fulfill something, while I'm also helping her fulfill something. So so one of the things, like they call it true north, one of the things that will guide your decision is your assignment. By that I mean, why are you on this earth? Your why, your big why. All right, your big why on the earth will determine the person you are going to bring on board. It's like in when you are hiring people for job, the first thing you need to do is to determine what is the overall action goal of the organization. So you now begin to ask yourself, who do we need to achieve that? So the people you need to achieve that that is what will determine what you now design as what we call person specification. The person's attitude, the person's skill set, the person's knowledge base. Those three key things are very essential. So now, same thing happens so marriage is essentially for me a recruitment. I'm sorry if it sounds offensive, but I don't think it's really offensive because you're actually bringing somebody on board. Why? You have a lot of people that are interested in you. As a lady, you have many applicants, in quotes. People are interested in. As a guy, you have many other options. Ladies, you can ask out. So, but based on where you're going, you now decide, I think this lady has a kind of drive I like, the kind of interest I like, the way I feel around her, and the kind of thing she's aiming at. That is the kind of, because there will always be somebody that will be finer than your spouse. There will always be someone that will be more intelligent, but not everybody will have the combination that your spouse will have that will take you to where you're going. So that's what you're going to check. So very important for you to hang on to a relationship that you know that in terms of fulfilling an assignment, this person will get no clue. So the further you grow in life, the further you guys will grow apart. And that's what happens to a lot of relationships. So as the guy begins to evolve and begin to grow, begin to change his association, begin to learn, the lady is just there. So, for example, how do you know? You were talking to a lady and I said, okay, so what are your goals? What are you? No, I just want to marry a rich man and just be a full-time housewife. There is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
But if you know that your goal is to be like a politician or to be like a minister, that the wife has to have a say, will be running seminars, you know that she's not the person for you. But she's a nice person. She's a good person.
Especially when she also hints that I'm not going to change for anybody.
Yes. So she's a good person. And so she already told you. My Anjali will say, when people tell you who they are, believe them. Don't try to change them. No, that's not who you are. No, believe them and just make your life easy. All right. So the challenge is when someone tells you ahead of time, you know what? I don't want I see all this working thing. I'm just doing it because until they see me. The moment I'm done, or you see a guy that you can see his pattern, that you know what? The first relationship was in, they were sorting him. This person, everybody around is always borrowing and collecting and borrowing and collecting, and he's telling you that this is who I am. I'm financially responsible. This is what I'm doing, and this is how, I don't have any plan to really do any work lasting for a long time. I just want some short project kind of thing. He's already told you, and now you get married. You're asking him why can't you apply? He already told you that he's not interested in applying, that this is the life he likes, life living on the edge. So once you know that this relationship is not going to lead you. I remember one time where I was coaching someone, and I was telling her, she was like, this guy, when I call him, he doesn't reply my call until after 2 days. And I asked her, okay, what kind of marriage do you want? And she described it. I said, this guy you're talking about, does he look like the kind of guy that will create the kind of marriage you want? She said, no. I said, really? I said, so why are you in this relationship? She said, she doesn't want to be lonely. So there are many people who don't want to be lonely, but because of that, so they are hanging on, they're hanging on to a relationship. So if that is you, it's better for you to be single than to hang on with a relationship that's going nowhere.
That's right.
It's to go nowhere.
That's right. Very good example. Okay, so we'll take the 7th point now. I don't know if you can follow. Sex too soon. All right. So this is where, like we were saying in the other point, okay, holding on to a relationship that's going nowhere. Sometimes you see, and this happens to ladies a lot, when they have had sex with someone and they later see a reason, they later see that this relationship is going nowhere, they begin to feel like, oh, I've given him myself, I can't leave, it's too late now. Okay, apart from the fact that sex blurs you from seeing what you should be looking out for in that relationship, some of the things we've listed now.
Absolutely.
Okay. It can leave you stuck in a relationship. It's going nowhere, but you can't leave because yes, you're probably enjoying it. Probably you feel guilty that you've done it now, so you can't go on to somebody else. Okay, but that shouldn't be happening.
Yeah, this may sound like, you guys have no clue. You guys don't want me to experiment or know if we are sexually compatible.
Yes, that's one word they keep throwing out there now.
To be honest with you, the concept of sexually compatible is what they're trying to say, to know if you guys see. Sex is something that is a skill. It's a skill that you keep learning and both of you can improve as you go along. Now, I think some years ago, we shared this kind with we had a group that we were running at the time. I would discuss this with a particular lady, and then she wasn't sitting right with us. She said, so, I can't really, I won't accept it. More like, I need to know if you are sexually compatible. Sorry, And so she went on and then carried on. I was like, but I know that this is a principle that we have tested out and we have, it's been proven. But she said, no, she doesn't think it's right. And then, all right, so, as a coach, you can't tell people what to do. You can only guide them to help them to discover what is right for them. So eventually, now make the long story short, she got married, but because they were having some kind of sexual intercourse before their marriage, I believe, this is after hearing, coming to me for counseling and for stuff, I believe that she never knew that the guy had a terrible temper. All right, so and based on that, at the last time we talked, the kind of experience she's going through is unbelievable. So what we're trying to say is that sometimes it might sound like, when something it looks like something is being withheld from you, it looks like you are losing out a lot.
That's true.
Until they now ask you, okay, this chocolate that you've been running around to steal, all right, eat the whole chocolate.
Stolen waters taste sweeter.
What happens to you at the end of the day? It's no longer interesting. All right, so So it's not the sex itself that is making you look like it's interesting. It's the fact that you say that it's not right, right? That's what is making you. The moment you get married, you say, okay, you know what, this sex, do it morning, afternoon, night. You'll be shocked that after a while, you start saying headache, back pain. Oh, I have proposals. That's just how it works. So it's human mind. So don't let that human nature to drive you into making hasty decisions by just, you know what, after a while, that's the only thing both of you think about. And one thing about relationship is that relationship needs to be organic for it to be effective. By organic, I mean it needs to grow and mature on its own. You can't force it. If you fast track it, you miss out some key steps.
Yes.
So for example, it's like when you plant a seed that is growing into an apple. All right. So if you just say you want to fast track the process of it ripening, you make it ripe, it will not be as tasteful as it's supposed to be.
That's right.
Or you cut it off too early, it have a sour taste. And that's what happens. So relationship it has to grow organically. You got to know each other. You people will trust. Then you move it to the next level. You grow. The moment you introduce sex into it, it fast tracks things. You people begin. That's when people begin to plan marriage. When they don't even know. You don't even know the job he's doing. You don't know his ambition. You don't know his family history. You don't know the things. You don't even know his genotype. You don't know key information about him, about his family, about his siblings.
And some then get married and become investigators. So
he's stooping around over his phone.
Comfortable because trust is impacted already.
Absolutely.
You're already thinking, if I had it so cheap, then
absolutely.
someone else would have it so cheap.
Yes.
And you're there monitoring every move.
Yes.
Where are you?
Absolutely.
Why are you not home?
Who are you with? Put it on video. Let me see. Show me around.
Unnecessary tension in the relationship, in the marriage.
It's not necessary.
No.
It's not necessary.
Costly mistake.
Now, we've come to the end of our 7 points. So, but if you have one more point or 2 more point that you like, please share it with us. Let's also learn from you and let other people who watch this video also learn. Right? Because the idea is this. The moment people have the information they need at the right time, this is one of our vision. This is one of the reasons why we are doing what we are doing. We want people to have the right information at the right time because when people know better, we believe that they do better. All right. So join us on this campaign to remove this pain, to reduce the level of divorce, to reduce the level of mistakes that people make, especially for singles. Because once you get it right at that level, marriage is easier. But we have something else we do with married couple. But first thing, we want to make sure that at the single point through which people say yes I do, they get it right. And then the rest work will be much easier.
And then don't forget if you're interested in we have our coaching program,
Fantastic.
Intimacy Builders program for singles.
Yes.
Right? And we have a batch that will be starting soon. All right. But
Absolutely.
it's never too late. It doesn't matter when you're watching this. Just click the link in the description box and fill the form. We'll get back to you.
Fantastic.
Okay? It's an intensive 8-week program and it is truly transformational.
Absolutely.
You will never be the same after that program. I assure you. Yeah. So if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, please subscribe and turn on your notification bell so you can continue to get good content like this.
Fantastic.
All right, we'll keep them coming. And until we come your way again, it's goodbye from us.